we work with so many companies that this is a time of great change, right? And change is a constant. So what happened, right? A few years ago and not too long ago, companies that needed to really make business critical change brought in change agents, right?
That's true.
Yeah. There were people that knew how to make change and they made the hard decisions and then they left and there were the leaders to move it forward, right? Not so today, right? Leaders we know are responsible for both leading and managing well and making business critical innovations and change. And this is really challenging to them. So we know that in our work, there are 4 basic components that our leader must-dos in order to drive the innovation that's required to change, right?
Right.
They are communication, reduce barriers, prioritize, and invest in the innovation. All 4 critical, right? So let's talk about those.
Oh, I think communication being the first one is, it's a critical component of what leaders need to do in terms of approaching their people. The communication needs not to be coming from the marketing department, but rather coming directly from the leaders. And be clear, be constant. Even when things are not happening, they should be communicated so we can avoid that water cooler, grapevine going around and people wondering what's taking place.
Right. The one of the other really important things is removal of barriers. So as the leader, you need to be anticipating what those barriers are, and you need to be prepared for them. And you also need to be prepared for the fact that there's going to be barriers you didn't plan on. People are going to be looking at you as the leader to address those barriers and to address them quickly. And when you're moving something, you're trying to do something like organizational change, if one barrier falls into place and it isn't immediately addressed, it's like, a wheel falling off the cart and everything else starts to fall apart. So people are going to be looking to you, the leader, to be addressing those barriers and cleaning them up very quickly.
Very true. And what's important about that is reducing barriers is an action. Right.
Yes.
Communication is critical because we know everyone needs to know why and how that aligns with the direction of the company. Get that clear, right? But reducing barriers are the actions that demonstrate that you're serious about this. You really are, right? So the third one is prioritization. All right. This is the case where we've seen it sort of not go well is when the leader is supportive of reprioritizing things, right? Things that move lower down the list, maybe some money not spent on a particular project because this business critical innovation is critical, right? It's critical. So where we've seen them make the mistake is they say, okay, you guys decide how you want to reprioritize. It's not going to work.
Not a good
It doesn't
idea.
work. No. And the biggest piece about that is the leader, by taking part in the reprioritization and publicly blessing it, they are taking ownership for the shifts and the changes needed to be able to implement this innovation, right?
The fourth one seems really obvious, and you'd think that would be the first thing that people would think about. But it's also the one that usually, a lot of times, gets in the way, and that's investment. Planning for the investment that this entire change is going to take, even thinking about hidden costs, things that you think, will be there, but, haven't really, come to the surface yet, and planning for the unexpected and having a contingency plan, if your budget changes a little bit, being able to address that immediately. Because the last thing I think you want to do is say to the organization, this is really important and we're going to do all of these things and here's why, and then have it fall apart because of investment.
Yeah, and isn't that so true? And how many times working with clients that we have seen where, the leaders get so excited about the change that is coming and it's, there's a lot of energy around that. And then it comes time to invest and some of the things are overlooked, and it sends the wrong message if the investment is not behind what they are saying and communicating that is important to the organization.
Right.
Inside that investment is that critical must-do of the contingency plan.
Yes.
It keeps this innovation from sort of halting and being stunted, right? So there they are, right? Four critical cornerstone components of being able to lead business critical change. Here's what's important about the 4 of them is that they all need to be implemented with equal strength from the leaders. Leaders cannot shirk one of them or delegate it too far down the chain. In fact, where we've seen it not happen or not where the innovation hasn't gone well, it's because we've been able to identify, oops, one of those things the leaders didn't take full enough ownership. So those 4 things: communication, reduction of barriers, prioritization, and investment in the initiative, right? When you can do all 4, your employees are inspired, they have the resources they need, and you have the best chance of success.